What's going on, everybody? In today's video I want to talk about finding property deals. You have okay deals, good deals and amazing deals. What my friend, who's a very successful developer, likes to call unicorn deals, which are the once in a lifetime, very rare type of deals, which if you do manage to secure and buy and go through the process and you manage to do that deal, then they can be so life-changing. I know people, and for myself, I've had certain deals I've done where it's completely changed my financial situation because they've gone that well. So what do I class as a good property deal? For me, at this point in my career, what I class as an amazing property deal is a property that I can buy, that I can refurbish, that I can refinance and pull out all of my initial investment. Now, to me, that's an amazing deal. But a great deal for me is a property I can buy, refurbish, and pull out, say, 80% of all of my initial investment. So for me, I'm looking at, right, what is the cash flow, number one? How much profit am I going to produce from this property per month? That's the number one thing that I look for. Then I'm looking at how much would it cost me to actually do this property deal? And when I refinance, how much can I pull out? If I believe and I feel confident that I can pull out all of my initial investment, then to me, that's an amazing deal. So I'm going for the good deals and the amazing deals. What will be an okay deal is something that I can buy, refurbish and pull out, say, 50% of my initial investment. Now, just to simplify this, when I say pull out my money, what I actually mean is refinance. So another word for refinance is remortgage. So when I'm talking about pulling out my money from property deal, what I mean is refinancing the property. So essentially you're increasing your loan amount. So your mortgage is a loan. So say, for example, to keep it very simple, you might buy a property for £100,000. You might spend £20,000 on it and it's now worth £150,000. What you can then do is you can say to the bank, I would like to refinance the property and remortgage the property. And you can then actually pull out money from the property and that will come back into your bank account. What it's doing is it's actually increasing your loan amount. When I talk about refinancing, that's what I mean. You're buying a property, £100,000, spending 20k on it, it's now increased in value, and you're then saying to the bank, I would like to refinance. They'll give you a lump sum of, say, £30,000 or £40,000. You get to keep the house. Your monthly payments will go up slightly, but you can then use that lump sum amount, the £30,000, £40,000, to actually invest and purchase another property deal. If you're going to refinance a property to buy a car, to buy a liability and not an asset, then I don't believe it's a good thing to do. If you're going to do the Burr method, refinance a property and use the money to actually buy more investment properties, then I think it's a great idea and I think you should do that. But make sure you're buying the right properties. Now, finding the best deals, you need to understand this. So this is why I'm talking about the Burr method, which is something I always revert back to. If you look at all of the top property people, majority of them have become so successful in property by utilizing good debt, so mortgages, and actually refinancing their portfolio to buy more. The more properties you have, the more potential capital appreciation you can get. Capital appreciation is when your property goes up in value over time. And it's just a posh word for basically your house going up in value. So when I'm buying, I'm looking at cash flow. That's the number one thing. I'm looking at how much profit per month can I make from this property deal. And then I'm looking at other things as well. For example, location. Is it in an area with high demand? Is this property going to rent out very fast? Or is it in an area which is maybe not so good? Maybe it's in a rubbish area which has a bad reputation. Try and avoid those areas, guys. Look for areas which are close to city centres of large cities. For example, I live in Nottingham. So for me, I know the area very well. I know what areas are good, what areas have bad reputations, and what areas have high demand in terms of people wanting to live there. So I use all this to my advantage. And I think you should do the same. Finding a good deal, I would recommend you look where you know. So for example, if you've grown up your whole life in Liverpool, then look in Liverpool. Find deals in Liverpool. You know the area, you know how much people pay for the rent, You know what you can rent out rooms for if you're doing a HMO or a multi-let, and you kind of know the market there. But if you're from Birmingham and you start to try and find deals in Liverpool, I believe it's going to be a lot harder because you don't know that market. I'm not saying don't do that, because as we all know, Liverpool is a bit of a hotspot right now. It's not a hotspot that I'll be jumping on, because what I'm doing in Nottingham is working. So for me, I'm sticking to what I know and sticking to what's working. But all I'd think is, and all I'd suggest to people is, try and find a deal that's where you're based. Try and find something that's close to home. But the fundamentals of finding a good deal is cash flow. How much monthly profit am I going to make? Location. Is it in a good location? Can I refinance the property and pull out all of my initial investment, or at least most of it? And most of the time, you need to run your numbers on worst case scenarios. So if the worst case scenario means that you can pull out 80% or 100% of your initial investment, then it's probably a good idea to go ahead and do that deal. Always run your numbers not on the best case scenario, because in property, nothing is guaranteed. You might think, yeah, the end value is going to be worth this, but unless you have that in writing from a lender, then you don't know what the end value is going to be. So just keep that in mind. People always think their property is worth more than it is as well. You'll find this when you're trying to buy from landlords and property owners. They believe that their property is worth this amount. In reality, to you, it's not worth that amount. We need to be looking at some properties that are discounted. We need to be looking to buy discounted properties. The easiest way to determine a property's actual true value is to look at the sold prices on the street. So it's easy to do. All you need to do is go to Rightmove and just type in Rightmove sold prices, and you can type in the full postcode, the full address. Say for example, you went to view a property and the address was number 9 Downing Street. What you need to do is go on to Rightmove sold prices and look at, what did number 10 sell for? What did number 11 sell for? What did number 12 Downing Street sell for? Are they the same property type as the one you just viewed? For example, if number 9, the one you just viewed, was a three bed terraced house, then you need to look at the other 3-bed terrace houses on the same road. If you can't do that, then you need to do it by the postcode. So look at the 3-bed terrace houses that have sold within that postcode, and that will allow you to understand how much the property is actually worth, because you don't want to be looking at the ones that have sold back in 2016 or 2015. You want to look at the 2019, 2020 and 2021 sales. So what's sold recently. You need to be looking at what's recently sold and what price, and was it the same property type as the one you're trying to buy. That will let you see the value of it. And also a thing you need to bear in mind is the condition. Were those properties run down? A lot of the times you can actually click on the link and it will let you see the quality and the photos of the property. So if you saw one that was a few doors down to the one that you're considering buying, and it was in amazing condition and it sold for £100,000 2 months ago, and the one you're trying to buy is in terrible condition and they're trying to sell it for £100,000, then you know it's not worth £100,000. So you need to work backwards. Look at how much it's going to cost you to refurbish the property, and then you need your profit margin. Now, me, as I said, I'm looking to do deals where I can pull all my money back out. But you might have an idea in your head of a 20% profit margin. Then you need to minus the refurb costs and minus your 20% profit margin, and that will give you how much the property is worth to you. Not to the seller, not to the agent, not to the property owner, to you. How much is the property worth to you? One thing, I see a lot of new people that are in property, they actually believe that you can just buy any rundown property, refurbish it, and you'll make money. That is not the case. For example, let's go back to this 100k house. One's just sold 2 months ago, that was in amazing condition for £100,000. You've managed to secure this rundown property for £80,000. That's exactly the same as the one that's just sold for £100,000. The £100,000 one was done up. It was done up really nice, okay? It's been refurbished, it's very nice, and it's just sold for 100k. You found this one, that's exactly the same specs, but it needs some work, and you've managed to secure it for £80,000. you seem to think, a lot of people seem to think, yeah, that's a good deal. I can refurbish it and I will have created profit. No. More than likely, it's going to cost you £20,000 to refurbish that whole property. And then it's only going to be worth £100,000. When the valuer comes out to value it, he's going to look at what's sold and he'll see, yeah, that one's just sold for 100k. This one is worth, guess what? 100k. If he's in a good mood. If he's not, then it might give you 95 or 90k. But let's just say he's in a good mood and he values it at 100k. You've not actually made any profit. If you was to sell that property right now, you would have made zero profit because you bought it for 80, you've spent 20 on it, and it's now sold for 100k. Where's the profit? Zero. Obviously, with property investment, we're doing it for the long term. We're looking at capital appreciation and the rental income. How much profit are we going to make per month? These are massive factors. But you also want to be looking at, if you was to sell it tomorrow, how much profit are you going to make? So this same house, you need to be really buying that for, say, £60,000 for the deal to make sense. That would give you £20,000 on the refurbishment cost. So it would cost you, say, £20,000 to do up the property. So you bought it for 60, you spend 20 on it, that brings it to 80, and you can sell it for 100. That gives you a £20,000 profit. That's the type of deals you need to be looking at. So if you are new to property, don't think because the property's run down you can just buy it and add value to it and it's just simple like that. No, you make the money when you buy, guys. So keep that in mind. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I can go a lot more in depth into this topic, but I want to keep it nice and short for YouTube. So guys, I'm in Cancun. I have a Cancun coming out as well. Stay tuned for that. We have part 1 and part 2. My friend tried to fight an NFL player. It didn't go down too well. Stay tuned for that, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.